Good morning, YouTube. Ronnie Haskins here. And this is our first live Google Hangouts. I hope you're having a great day.
Good morning, YouTube. Ronnie Haskins
And I am here to share with you today 5 things I've learned over the first 5 years that I've been in business. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Ronnie Haskins. I'm the owner of Auto Search USA here in Colorado Springs. And over the past 18 years that I've been doing this, I have learned lots of lessons on just being in business, learning how to continue my business and grow it. And my mission has become lately to give that information back. How can I give back information that I've learned over being in business for 18 years to you so we can make your life a little bit easier when you're growing your business, working in your business, or maybe you just want to grow it and make it a little bit better. So what I thought I'd share with you today was 5 things I learned over the first 5 years in business, and let's get to it right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is there are not enough hours in the day. You know, I struggled with that one for a long period of time, and I just realized there's just not enough hours in the day. You know, I spend all my time, you can spend time in marketing, you can spend time in sales in front of the clients, you can spend time working on something to grow your business. And what you realize is that you just don't have enough time in a 24-hour period to make all of that stuff happen. And so when I started this, and I started from zero, and I started growing the business, I found myself scattered all over the place trying to figure out exactly where my time was best spent. And so what I figured out was you have to basically carve out that time working on the business and carve out some of that time working in the business. There's a book out there called The E-Myth. I forget the author of that book, but if you have that, put it in the comments box. But the E-Myth talks a lot about working in the business and working on the business. And so I think that's one of the most valuable lessons I learned a long time ago, is that you're just not going to have enough time to get it done in one day, everything that you have planned out. So you've got to make sure that those opportunities that you're dealing with, you don't drown in them. A lot of you've heard me say this before, opportunities without direction are distractions. So carve out your day, write things down, and make sure they happen. So number two, do something for your health, or you won't be around to enjoy your success. I used to play basketball when I was a lot younger, every Tuesday with a bunch of guys. We all met there every Tuesday. And I remember early on in those sessions, I would tell the guys, I don't have time for this. I need to get back to the office. I should be working on a deal. I should be marketing, making phone calls, doing whatever the case may be. And my buddy, Brian Van Sickle, he sat down with me and said, Ronnie, you're gonna die if you don't do something for your health. He goes, how are you gonna expect to enjoy yourself later in life if you're just working yourself to death right now? And so to take that time to relax and not deal with business or anything that puts that type of stress on you is super valuable. And what I learned throughout that time was ideas come. You're working out, or you're walking the dog, going on hikes, whatever you pick to relax, and you will find yourself being able to get to a place of peace where you can actually think about a decision you made earlier, or just a decision that's up and coming, and get more at peace with it. And let's just face it, we've got to put a value on our health. We've got to basically make sure that everything we're working to build, we're going to be around to enjoy it later on in our life. If we get sick, or if we're not able to continue to enjoy our life, then what are we building this stuff for? So that was a good one for me to learn. That one was really hard. It took a while, but I got it figured out. All right, so the next one, number three, you can't do everything well. You can't do everything well, or more importantly, you can't do everything perfectly. And, one of the lessons I learned during that first 5 years was some things I'm just not good at. I'm just not good at every aspect of my business. And so you have to learn to hire that out, whether you use virtual assistants or employment labor or W-2 employees. You've got to find people to put around you that give you strength, that are really good in aspects of your business that you are not good at. And so once you figure that out, your business can run a lot smoother. And so it takes me to a point of, stepping over $5 to pick up a dollar. Don't want to step over $5 to pick up a dollar. So if that hiring out that laborer to do that job better than what you were going to do it at, you need to spend that money. So for me, like a good example was, follow up or doing certain things in the business like title work or whatever the case may be. I used to spend a lot of time doing that stuff, and I couldn't do it good all the time. I would ramp up and do it really good for like 30 days and go, okay, this is exciting. It's excitement and you want to get it done, but it would drop back off. And then 6 months later, I realized, wow, I haven't worked on that specific task that was generating income for us in 6 months. So hire that out, train people to help you, and that will make your business continue to grow. All right, so let's talk about number 1, 2, 3, 4. Challenge your thinking. This is a really good one. Even if it's working, even if you're doing a good job, you still need to challenge yourself, because as we move through time, things change. Technology picks up. Things are happening around you that you may not see because you're in a bubble. And so what I like to do is challenge my thinking about, how efficient this process is, or what's the customer experience really like today? Is it the same as it was 5 years ago? How we're communicating to them, how we're making sure we're meeting all of their needs. Business things are changing. People are competing with you and trying to do a better job than you. And you need to look at that. I remember talking to a guy once a while ago. He was like, in his particular field, it was a fireable offense if you didn't know what your competition was doing. It was a fireable offense in his industry, and it was the food industry. I'm not talking about working at a restaurant. I'm talking about, making a product that goes to market at the grocery store. So they always were checking their competition, not to compare, but just to see what was out in the marketplace. Just if you think yours is the best all the time, you can't learn anything from yourself. So you got to go out and look at other things. Call somebody in a different state. You don't have to look at your direct competitor that's 2 buildings away, but you can look in different states. And with the web, it makes getting that information extremely easy. So you should definitely have that. So that information you should write down. Challenge your thinking. Make sure that you're doing things as efficient as possible. Make sure you're delivering what you say you're delivering, because over time, these things seem to change, and you should be investigating that at least once a year. Okay, so for those of you that are new in business, or maybe you're not hitting the goals that you want, this was a good one. Number 5, understand how to measure your success so you can remain positive. Now I wrote down, this was a big one for me. Measuring your activity is the biggest, most important thing that I think any entrepreneur can do. Measure your activity. Especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, or if you're building your business and your team is just starting to grow, you're not going to get a Salesman of the Year award from yourself. So you've got to find a way to measure your activity, and then you can start to claim that success. All right. So stay with me here. Measuring your activity gets you to the success. All right. Hate to use another football analogy, but we all want to score touchdowns, but getting the first downs is exactly what gets you into the end zone. The kickers have been struggling a lot lately, so you probably do need to get to the end zone. But think about it like this: like you get to the end of the month and you're like, I have not done enough business. Oh man, my message is not resonating with people. People don't believe in me. Those types of dark thoughts start to sink in when you're not hitting what you think are your goals, because you're not getting the dollars, you're not getting the numbers on the ground. So what you need to do is measure the activity that leads to it. How many phone calls did you make last week? How many appointments did you go on? How many appointments did you set? Was all of your follow-up work done for the people that actually purchased from you? Like, did they get a thank you card in the mail? Did they get a phone call? All of these things, everybody's industry is different, but just trust me, if you focus on the activity, it will lead you to the success. And you have to reward yourself for it. You know, me doing a video today is one of the things on my list for this week. And so once I get done with the video, I can claim that success. It's like, I got it done. I'm ready to move on to the next task. You know, this has nothing to do with selling cars today, but it does help. It is helping me with my mission, which is to give back over time all this information that I keep acquiring and that I have acquired over 18 years. And so think about that one a lot, and think about what you did last week and what you could do better this week. So, all right, those were the 5 things. And what I'd like to leave you with are things that you could work on. You know, one of them was one that we were just talking about, you know, writing down 5 things that you can do this week, this specific week. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it right now. Write down 5 things that you are going to work on to help move your business in a positive manner to get you to the goals, the end zone, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, they have to be activities that you can commit to, that you know you're going to be able to get done, and that you can carve out the time for it. So, you know, what can you do for that? You can get an accountability buddy. I have done that in the past where I wanted to make phone calls to my previous clients. And I called a business person who wasn't even in my industry, but, you know, he deals with clients on a daily basis. And I said, hey, man, let's sit down and make some phone calls and just get through the calls, you know, check in with our clients, ask them a couple of questions. We're not trying to sell anything, but we're just doing follow-up work. And we would get together and do that and hold each other accountable. So if you're looking for something to be positive for you, get yourself an accountability buddy that you can use to help you get those phone calls made, letters sent, emails typed up, whatever the case may be. But that's what you've got to do to get yourself moving. So, all right, let's see if we have anybody that checked in. I'm getting new to this deal, but I want to get good at this so that we can have conversations on a weekly basis. So if you have anything you want to put in the chat box, go ahead and type it in, and I'll answer your questions right now. But I hope you found this valuable. You know, I wanted to basically give that back because, you know, as we're working in the business, we don't see things going on around us or the world changing as we're moving. And we got to take the time to look back and figure out what we've learned. If you do nothing else, you've got to learn something every day or every week or every quarter as you continue to work on your business. So, all right, we don't have any questions right now, but since we're here, I'm going to practice. Like, I've got this thing that I can share my screen, and I want to see if it works. So let's see. I'm going to pull up one of my programs, and I want to see if this will go out on the screen. If you're taking a look at it, tell me how it looks in the comments, because I want to see if this is effective, because when I do more videos, I want to be able to share with you exact figures and exact numbers so that you can take a look at these things. So, all right, let me see if I can click the button for share screen. Oops, I got that up on the screen. God, that's going to be difficult. All right, let's try it. So we'll try this. And hopefully you can see that. This is just something I want to share later. But right now we're getting a lot of feedback, so let's turn that off. All right, so great. 5 things that I learned my first 5 years in business. If you've got things that you would like me to talk about specifically, feel free to message me, put comments in the comments box, or I can come back and do another video on that later. So I hope you have a great Monday, get it done, and keep moving forward. I'll talk to you guys later.